Hello, welcome to Web of Stories. My name is Melinda, and I am here with my April TBR and Pile of Possibilities. And yes, I have both this month. Last month, I just had a TBR, but this month, I have both. So let me go through it. There's a couple. So let me start with the books that I am definitely going to read in April for various reasons. So the first one is I always have I do an Agatha Christie and a Donna Leon each month. So my Agatha Christie for April is Appointment with Death. This is a Perot. I'll read a little bit of the back. Among the towering red cliffs of Petra. Ooh, so we're going to Petra. Like some monstrous swollen Buddha sits the corpse of Mrs. Boynton. Oh boy. Oh boy. A tiny puncture mark on her wrist is the only sign of the fatal injection that killed her. With only 24 hours available to solve the mystery, Hercule Poirot recalled a chance remark he'd overheard in Jerusalem. You see, don't you, that she's got to be killed. Mrs. Boynton was indeed the most detestable woman he'd ever met. Ooh, that sounds good. So this is my April Agatha Christie. And then I also do a Donna Leon. And so in April, provided I finally get around to reading the one I had for March, because it's like March 14th. I haven't even started it yet. And I have two really big ebooks coming up. So we're going to pretend like I actually get to that one in April, or in March. So then in April, I would read A Noble Radiance. This is number 7 in the Commissario Brunetti series. And let me read just a little bit of the synopsis of this. It's on my computer, so I'm going to look over here. In A Noble Radiance, a new landowner is summoned urgently to his house, not far from Venice, when workmen accidentally unearth a macabre grave. The human corpse is badly decomposed. Oh, yay. But a ring found nearby proves to be a first clue that reopens an infamous case of kidnapping involving one of Venice's most aristocratic families. Only Commissario Brunetti can unravel the clues and find his way into both the heart of patrician Venice and that of a family grieving for their abducted son. So that is A Noble Radiance, which I will read in April, provided I read my March one. So, okay, then what else do I have? So, while I'm here, on my computer, I also have my marginalized my Library Diverse Voices book group book for May, which I'll be reading in April. And this one looks really interesting. I had never seen this until it came up for my book group, and it is a relatively new release. I mean, it came out May of 2023. It's called Hula by Jasmine Iolani Hakes. I believe I'm saying that right. The description on this one is quite long. If it was just one, I'd probably do it. But it involves a young woman who is trying to become the next Miss Aloha Hula. And a lot of this embodies a lot of the culture, the issues that the culture of Native Hawaiians deal with, trying to preserve their culture and all the things that go on with that. Really looking forward to this one. So yeah, I don't know if I've ever read anything by Native Hawaiian. I've read books set in Hawaii by people who live in Hawaii, but they aren't Native Hawaiians. So I am really interested in reading this. Okay. Then Coriolanus for the Bard Room. So I am taking May off from the Bard Room. I take May and December off. So I'm reading Coriolanus. I am seeing a production of Coriolanus in May. So that will be exciting. Also, Kelly at Books I'm Not Reading told me that there is a filmed performance adaptation of this starring Ralph Fiennes, and yes, please. So I may be watching that as well. So Coriolanus. This is one of Shakespeare's plays that's set in ancient Rome. I am not really familiar with this at all, so this is kind of brand new to me, which will be fun. And then Maria Andrea at Books and Bocadillos and I were going to do a buddy read of Death Comes for the Archbishop by Willa Cather. The only Willa Cather I have read is My Antoinette, which I read in school and I don't remember very much, but I do remember I really liked it. I picked this up just kind of on a whim at my friends of the library bookstore. So I thought, I shared it in a haul a couple months ago, and Maria Andrea was like, ooh, let's do a buddy read. So we're doing a buddy read. I'm looking forward to this one. And then I'm sort of buddy reading and discussing with Sarah at Roadworthy, Thunder Songs by Sasha LaPointe. I am really hoping to get to her first book this month, March. But if I don't, I'm just going to kind of skip ahead and do this one so that I'll be ready to discuss it with her. This is an essay collection. She is a member of the Coastal Salish tribe up in the... is a Coast Salish author from the Nooksack and Upper Skagit Indian tribes. So she lives in Tacoma. So she's the Tacoma, Olympia area of Washington. She recently came to Powell's to talk about this book. Of course, on a night I couldn't go, so I didn't get to go hear her. But I know Sarah is going to go hear her speak, so that will be fun. But I am really looking forward to this. This is part of our sort of year-long series to read books by Pacific Northwest Indigenous authors. Again, there's not that many, but we're working on it. And then my final must-read that I can remember is, and I'm really excited about this one. This one's for People April, and I voted for it for the group read, and it won, and I'm so happy because I didn't want to read any of the other books, but I was going to read this one anyway. And that's I Am by Maggie O'Farrell. This is about her X number 17 brushes with death. I will probably treat this one very much like a short story collection and kind of read it slowly throughout the month. There's 17 stories. So I might read one every day or two and do it that way. It's not very long, so I can't imagine that any of the essays, they're not stories, they're essays, are that long, and they don't look that long. So this will be sort of a long-term read for me, or month-long read for me. Okay, now the rest of the books that I have that are my pile of possibilities, and I might have more, these are just the ones that I found, are all for People April. So, and I think that all of these could also qualify for the Fierce Women read along, because those go really well together. And I just pulled these off my shelf, so we'll see. The first one is one I've had for a couple of years, and it's Hill Women, Finding Family and a Way Forward in the Appalachian Mountains. So this is about women in Appalachia. It kind of came out after Hillbilly Elegy, to say, this is a less yucky version of the same story. As we all know, J.D. Vance is kind of gross now, but I've been wanting to read this, and every time I get close to getting to read it, I just run out of time or whatever, so I'm really hoping to get to it in People April. So the next one is one that I have been afraid to read. This depends on whether or not I am emotionally ready to read this book, and there are things going on in my life that may be that I am not emotionally ready to read this book right now, but I'm putting it on the pile of possibilities anyway. And that is Know My Name by Chanel Miller. I have heard nothing but this book is absolutely fantastic and it will rip your heart out. And it just depends on whether I'm in a place to have my heart ripped out. So definitely a possibility book. I'm not committing to it at this point though. I will get to it eventually if I don't read it this month. But as I said, I have, some things that are going on with friends and family that, nothing personally directly with my immediate family, but, close friends and family, distant family that, it's just, I'm not sure I want to take on something as emotionally heavy as this, but it is there in case I am ready. And then I have two books that you would have seen in my book haul that I did halfway through the month because I'm cutting myself off, but these both look good. This is The Translators Daughter by Grace Lowe Prasad. This is born in Taiwan. Grace Lowe Prasad was 2 years old when the threat of political persecution under Chiang Kai-shek's dictatorship drove her family to the United States, setting her up to become an accidental immigrant. The family did not know when they would be able to go home again. This exile lasted long enough for Prasad to forget her native Taiwanese language and grow up American. Having multilingual parents, including a father who worked as a translator, meant she never had to develop the fluency to navigate Taiwan on visits. But when her parents moved back to Taiwan permanently when she was in college and her mother was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, oh, that's sad, she recognized the urgency of forging a stronger connection with her birthplace before it was too late. So that is The Translator's Daughter. That also sounds sad. That might also be if I'm emotionally ready for it. And then finally, another memoir. This is Whiskey Tender by Deborah Jackson Taffa, who is an Indigenous writer. She is a citizen of the Yuma Nation. Oh, so interesting. I might, Yuma Nation and the Laguna Pueblo. Okay, I'm going to be down in her area at the end of this month. So let me read a little bit of the description of this. In Whiskey Tender, Deborah Jackson Taffa examines the many forces that shaped who she is, an extraordinary hardworking father, a complicated, beautiful mother, and her own bullheaded, indomitable spirit. Raised in the wake of hard assimilation policies, I'm assuming that is the residential schools, Deborah knows she should be grateful. Her ancestors survived genocide. Her grandparents survived mandatory boarding schools. There you go. Her father survived discriminatory incarceration as a minor. But coming of age in the 1970s and 80s, oh, so she's about my age, was not easy. After Deborah's father is trained as a welder via the Indian Relocation Act, the family is moved from their home reservation to a violent border town on the Navajo Nation. There, Deborah and her sisters are pushed to be model minorities by demanding parents who are determined to see their daughters excel in private school educations to just transcend the institutional poverty and Indian status of their births. That sounds really interesting. That is a different take on the Indigenous experience than I've read before. I don't know if it's a unique take. It's just different from what I have read. So that sounds really interesting. I think this one is closer to being on a TBR than the Pile of Possibilities. I think of these four, the two I'm most likely to read are these two. And we'll see how I'm feeling about the other two. But yeah, so that is my April. Let me know what you're reading on April. Do you have anything that you definitely have to read, or things? What if you are doing People April, Fierce Women? Let me know what you're reading, because I still have room in my reading to add other stuff. So let me know. Thank you very much. Like, subscribe, join my Discord where we can chat. It's a little bit easier than in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.